Hey, this is WCWA Boss Man, and this is just a response to this video. And what I want to say is this: knowing the business again, like I do, and also living in the state of Florida and watching FCW and watching these wrestlers like Sheamus and Swagger and McIntyre on FCW programming. The reason why they're pushing these guys now is because they want to get the school some credibility, but they also want to show that FCW is capable of putting out good new talent for the big dog, because as everybody knows, FCW is WWE's major training ground now. It switched from Ohio Valley Wrestling to FCW, and FCW is trying to prove to Vince and to the board of WWE that they can create the main event stars that used to be mainly OVW's job. So, because of that, they have to put these younger guys in bigger spots to give these guys the opportunities to make names for themselves. Because being a promoter, I'll tell you, every wrestler that I've met who wants to work for me comes up to me and says, "Boss, I'm going to be the best wrestler on your roster." And a lot of them believe this. But what WWE is trying to do is, with these wrestlers that show a lot of promise, is they're trying to put them in these positions to see if they can deliver. Because you got to think about this. They've done this in the past with other wrestlers. And so, as far as how far will these guys go, don't know. WWE these days has a short period, a very short period, of which to make it in, make something of yourself. But we'll see. And we'll see if FCW, and I hope they can, because it'll make the Florida territory look good. I hope FCW can turn out future WWE stars. And to his other point about there not being a lot of great wrestlers that were never pushed to the world title level. I agree on Ricky Steamboat. I do somewhat agree on the Texas Tornado, but I believe that due to his physical shortcomings with his not having his foot at the time and all the other issues that was going on with Kerry Von Erich, I think that their placement of him in the mid-card Intercontinental title picture was the best place for him. Now, also, I want you to think about this. a lot of those wrestlers that were Intercontinental Champion that never became World Champion, you gotta remember, at the time that they were Intercontinental Champion, the Intercontinental Champion was considered the workhorse and the best wrestler in WWE by their own admission, because they set up the Intercontinental Champions as those were the best wrestlers having the best matches on the cards. And the Intercontinental Champions were the setups for the Hogans and the Savages. And, and the Undertakers. Now, the business is totally flipped in the way of the Intercontinental Championship and most championships now are used as props, which I consider that to be a great misusing of titles. I believe titles should be used as status symbols like they were in the 80s and early 90s. And I also do believe that switching champions just as much as you'll switch your underwear like WWE has been doing is a total mistake as well. I don't believe that that should be done. I believe that if you're going to give somebody a title reign, unless the storyline itself that you've set out calls for a quick change, you should, if you're gonna be trying a talent out, you shouldn't just give them a month with the title and see what happens. You should give them at least 3 months with different people and different stories to see what happens. But that's my rant on that. I agree with a lot of what you said, and I also made some of my own points, and I also agree that Owen Hart and Razor Ramon and and Roddy Piper and Jake the Snake were all guys that should have maybe gotten that push. But I also think that other guys that never got that push that needed it were Mr. Perfect, Rick the Model Martel, um, maybe even Marty Jannetty if he'd straightened a lot of his stuff out. I also think that a guy that should have gotten it that never did was the British Bulldog, because not only did he have the physique that he had, but he had the wrestling ability. And there's so many others. But that's just my video response. Let me know what you think. WCWA Bossman here, and I'll catch y'all next time.